All right, folks, latest video out of 5280 here. Video review for the customer, and obviously after they approve it, I put them public out to let others see some of the work that we put out here out of the 5280 shop. So this one is an 89Sabers SkinnyFlex loaded with Proffie 2.2, 18650, Shtok NPXL, and dual tactile switches, one up in the red button, the other one is down here in the control box. This was done with a Goth chassis and the PIY from 89Sabers, so it was a pretty straightforward install for the chassis part. A few little picky parts, and I'll kind of comment on those as I go along. Mainly just kind of related to the way the hilt assembles, and I think that's going to be kind of inherent with anybody who tries to do this saber in terms of a rendition of it. So we'll get into it. Like I mentioned, Goth chassis, 28 mil speaker, kill switch, kill key, Proffie 2.2. The 18650 sits pretty much about from here to here. And then in the control box, we've got it printed from one of the Facebook groups. It was a different control box setup than what came with the hilt originally. Makes it a little bit easier. The golden tab here does provide the auxiliary, and it works extremely well. I would recommend it to anybody who actually has one of these 89Sabers SkinnyFlexes to go ahead and get that. I did the print for the inside of that control box in resin, just to get the small little parts that are on it in a little more detail, a little more sturdy. The control box is sealed up for right now though, so we won't be able to show that off. I will try and provide some info in the description if I can remember where and who the part was from. So we'll have a look here. I'm not even going to try and keep fingerprints off this thing. It is just, you look at it and it gets smudges. So down in here, and it's nice and dark right now, is a Shtok connector. Oh, the kill key is in.
This is where the fun begins.
So there we have the lit connector. For the moment, I'll just fit the blade plug in to show what that looks like. Very nice blue through there. Not a whole lot of shine through just because it is a thin wall 7/8 plug with a nice metal insert. Then coming down through, and I'm going to turn it off. Coming down through the copper look painted greebly. Looks really, really nice on this hilt. I will say the paint on it is beautiful. A little bit of a pain to get that one in. You've got to sand around all the edges of this little copper look paint to get it off the actual brass that it's painted on, so that it actually goes in nice and easily. If this ever needs to come out, because there are two screws under it that hold the chrome bezel in, you basically can take an Allen key, put it in through the emitter, and on its angle just pop it out. I've got like one dab of E6000 on it to hold it in place. Turning it over, you've got what used to be a red button on a Graflex is now the copper button. And on this one, the provided tactile switch was kind of short. And when you push down on this button, it tends to stick just like it did right there. So if you go down a little too far, it sticks, and then you can't really get it to come out very easily without kind of fiddling with it, and I usually can't do it without two hands. There we go. So to pop it back out, you have to fiddle with the back end of it. I didn't think the user was going to really appreciate having to do that, especially since he does plan to take this out in full costume as Anakin. So I've added, or well, replaced that tactile switch. You'll see just barely, it is slightly taller than the original, which means it does not go in the way the original would. The original, you could glue it to the inner black core, and then the whole outer sleeve up here would slide down over it once you depressed it. You could slide everything down and then fit this together. For right now, what I've done, I've run the wires from the chassis up the normal channel, out through the hole here, put the tactile switch on the original PCB, which I shaved down in length to be able to insert it down in and pushed in, because there is a ton of space in here for wires. So that solved one of the problems that I had with the hilt. Just the red button activator, it just didn't feel right out of the box. We'll put that back on. Moving down the knurled section, feels great. It is awesome knurling on this thing. If you're gripping through this section, you'll definitely know when you hit that if you're not looking. And then we go to the control box. One tactile switch. It sits about right underneath the square area here on the control card. Faces this way. So when you push up, you get your menus and your auxiliary. We'll get out of the main.
Darth Vader. Anakin. Prepare a boarding party.
And there we go.
Anakin Skywalker.
So we come down here, nice clean install. The Goth chassis provides enough room down here to stash a little bit of wire slack under the board, which helps out a little bit. And then of course the rest of it runs up and over the battery and across the bottom of the control box where 2 extra wires come back out. And then we've got the Smuggler's Outpost speaker in the back end. So other than that, that's kind of the Saber. We'll light it up with the lower handle on here. So you can see it is actually a really nice sounding hilt when this is on. So vented pommel for right now. Music. So it's definitely got a nice bass resonance. And that, folks, is the 89Sabers SkinnyFlex from 5280. Thank you for watching. All right, here we are in front of the red curtain again for another blade demo. Very, very simple. This one's got 2 blues, 2 reds, Anakins, and Vaders. Small, slight differences between them, but not a whole lot. Do have to do this one though. Oh, it's going to time out. We have the swing-on ignition from Fernando. It's awesome, great. So this is the first font. Mixed in some yellow on this one. All the standard Proffie effects. So we'll move on to the next font.
Darth Vader.
This is the villain side of the same font. And again, sticking with the 2 fonts being a partner, kept the yellow into this one.
Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Now moving into another one.
Anakin.
Got a bit of a more flashy ignition on that one. Blast fade out on this one looks great. The ripples going out from the blast.
I want more. Prepare a boarding party.
And on that last font, didn't get my favorite post-off, which is Anakin lying on the sides of the stream of lava, and Mustafar just screaming in agony. First time I heard it on the Saber, I just had to lay it down. I was laughing too hard. More of a full blade light up on the Clash. And that is the demo. That's kind of what the owner